So today's video is going to be a book review of The Madman's Daughter by Sheperd. This is the book here on my Kindle, and I know that's really reflective. I'm really sorry, so I won't hold it up throughout the whole video. But I downloaded this book on Friday and finished it on Sunday. I could not put this down, quite literally. I mean, I could not put it down. I had to put it down when I was in work because I have a weekend job. But I was supposed to come home and study Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. I did none of that. All I did was read that book. So first things first, I obviously loved this book. I was really intrigued by the storyline and looking forward to reading it, but I didn't anticipate quite how much I would fall in love with the book. It's Sheperd's debut novel, and I think she has done an amazing job. So, plot, I guess. The story is based on the 19th century book, The Island of Dr. Moreau? Who knows? With the addition of a very major character who obviously isn't in the original, who is Dr. Moreau's daughter, the protagonist of the novel. The story centres around her beginning in England, once quite a wealthy young girl, when her father still lived in London, as he was a renowned physician. But now, 6 years later, when she's 16, she works as a maid and lives in a boarding house because her mother subsequently died and her father has been banished or exiled from London for his work. He's been accused of experimenting on animals and conducting vivisections in the most horrendous way. Dubbed a mad scientist, he's been exiled from London and now lives on a remote island off the coast of Australia, I believe. At the beginning of the novel, the protagonist, Juliet, doesn't know whether her father is alive or not. He has not contacted her in the 6 years he's been away, and everyone presumes that he is dead. Through a series of small clues, right at the beginning of the novel, she finds out quite promptly that he is in fact alive. There's no sort of there's a reasonable introduction to Juliet's character. We hear a little bit of her background and what's going on in her life now, but you don't have to wait too long to get into the proper meat of the story. I enjoyed the pacing. I know I've read some reviews where people thought it was too slow, but I thought it was appropriate for the book. It created suspense and tension, and I think that we got into the action reasonably quickly. She does, in fact, go to the island to meet her father again. She travels with his assistant, who she met in London, who subsequently told her that her father was still alive, a young man named Montgomery, who is 18. She travels with him to this island, and on their journey to the island, they pick up a castaway called Edward Prince, and these are now your three main characters, with Dr. Moreau being more of an antagonist. Three protagonists, although there's in all three of them there's a mixture of good and bad, are Montgomery, Juliet and Edward, and yes, there is a little bit of a love triangle there, but I don't think it takes away from the story. In fact, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was done really well. I didn't find Juliet to be an overly soppy character that couldn't deal with anything, although she does spend some time debating over which one she prefers. She still remains quite a strong character in my mind, and she keeps the main objective clear in her head, which is to find out what is going on with her father and his experiments. I think Juliet was a really realistic and believable protagonist. It is a sort of gothic mystery with that touch of romance, and there is actually quite a few mysteries and or different parts to the mystery, and you find different things out gradually, all culminating in this massive shocker ending, which I was partially traumatized by. I feel like I can't believe what happened at the end. Even like the big thing and the smaller thing that happens at the end, there's like a few surprisers there at the shockers there at the end, and I can't believe that I have to wait till 2014 to read the sequel. Oh, although the book was originally intended to be a standalone book, it was subsequently and thankfully turned into a trilogy, and the sequel is to be based on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I found the characters all to be likeable. They had enough flaws not to feel idealised or too perfect to be true, but at the same time their characters were all quite strong characters. They all had appealing aspects, as in Edward, Juliet and Montgomery. Dr. Moreau had very, very little going for him. I think it's because of the genre of this book, but nobody really comes under that clear good guy, bad guy category. Obviously there are characters that are definitely you're rooting for, but they all have something a little bit, something darker, some secrets going on with them, and I think you'll constantly get little surprises throughout the book. And I also think there's clues. Some things I suspected before they happened, other things I was completely shocked by, but when they were revealed I was like, that makes sense, and sort of wanted to go back and be like, oh, if I'd known that then. I think it's a really well done book, and I think if you like sort of anything with a bit of scare factor to it, thrillers, this will make you jump. It was quite, well, not jump because it's a book, but it is an eerie book. There was moments where I was like, oh, it's the middle of the night and I'm a little bit freaked out right now, although I don't think it was overwhelmingly frightening, and I'm quite easily scared. Like, I really don't like gory horror books. This was definitely more of like a thriller mystery, at least from my perspective, with some sort of gruesome elements to it, but in a way that I think most people could read this even if they weren't really a horror person, because I don't think it's really a horror book. I think if you like a bit of romance, I think if you like sort of period set books, or if you like just plain mysteries, which I love, then I think you'll adore this book. I think it was really well written, and I honestly cannot say enough good things about this book. As soon as I finished this book, I instantly wanted to pick it back up and reread it. So this book definitely deserves 5 stars from me. I hope this was some semblance of help, and that if you do read this book, you do enjoy it as much as I did. And if you've read it, then please chat about it in the comments with me. It's my very rambly, over-the-top review of this book, which I think you should all check out. And yeah, I will see you all again very soon.